Hi guys, and welcome back to Maths with Cats. So today we're going to be going over cubic equations and graphs for AQA A-Level Maths. I'm continuing the thing with the cats in the corners because I think it makes it flow better, by the way. So the first one we're going to go over is factorising cubic equations when you've been given a factor. So here's our first example. Given x plus 2 is a factor of f of x equals 2x cubed plus x squared minus 8x minus 4, express f of x as the product of three linear factors. So wants us to write it as three sets of brackets, essentially. We have our first set of brackets, it's given us the x plus 2. Also, I've just realised I've not turned my laser pointer on, that would be useful. So for this, we're going to do a method we've used in a previous video, which is using a multiplication table and working backwards. Here's our multiplication table. We'll fill in the bits we know. So we know there's a factor of x plus 2, so we know x plus 2 times by something gives us this. And we know that the highest power must go in this top left one next to the x. So x times by something makes 2x cubed. That something has got to be 2x squared. And 2x squared times by 2 gives us 4x squared. We want x squared overall, so this has got to be minus 3x squared, so we end up with overall x squared. And x times by minus 3x is going to give us that. Then minus 3x times by 2 gives us minus 6x. We want minus 8x, so we need to minus another 2x, so that when they add together you get minus 8x. And x times by minus 2 is going to give us that minus 2x. Minus 2 times by plus 2 is minus 4. You just want to then check up here and go minus, and make sure this is minus 4. You'll notice this is how we do algebraic division. Obviously, we're trying to find out what you times by x plus 2 to give this, so that we can find all the factors. So, use algebraic division, essentially. Okay, so now we know that f of x is equal to x plus 2 times by 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. We want it as three linear factors, so we're then going to factorise this quadratic bracket here. Now, I'm not going to break this down into steps. I've shown you how you can factorise quadratics in previous videos. We've gone over it a few times. You can also use your calculator. I've actually got my calculator next to me so I can tell you properly. So turn your calculator on, press the menu button at the top. Then if you press either A or scroll along until it says equation/function at the bottom. Then press number 2 for polynomial. Press number 2 because you're trying to factorise a squared this time. And then type in 2 in front of the x squared, minus 3 in front of the x, and minus 2 instead of 0. And then press equals, and it'll say x1 equals 2. So if one of the roots is x equals 2, one of the factors is x equals minus 2. And the other thing it'll say is x2 equals minus a half. X equals minus a half is a root, then 2x plus 1 is a factor. It'll also tell you the minimum on your calculator, minimum points. But yeah, there you go. So we now have the answer. F of x equals x plus 2, 2x plus 1, x minus 2. Next thing we're going to go over, factor theorem to factorise cubics. F of x is a polynomial, and f of k equals 0. Then x minus k is a factor of f of x. This is the factor theorem. We've covered it in previous videos. You should be okay on this one. So here's an example. Factorise f of x equals 2x cubed plus x squared minus 8x minus 4 fully. Now, unfortunately, the first part of this is trial and error. We're going to test with different values of k until we find one that equals 0, so that you find a factor. Now, in exams, they normally use smaller numbers for this to make it easy. So, normally start counting up and down from 0. So, f of 1, in this case, 2 lots of minus 1 cubed plus minus 1 squared minus 8 lots of minus 1, 8 lots of 1. Sorry, I've just been saying minus 1 the entire time. Let's start again. 2 lots of 1 cubed plus 1 squared minus 8 lots of 1 minus 4 is equal to minus 9. So that's not where a factor is. F of minus 1 is equal, so 2 lots of minus 1 cubed plus minus 1 squared minus 8 lots of minus 1 minus 4 is equal to 3. 2 lots of minus 2 cubed plus minus 2 squared minus 8 lots of minus 2 minus 4 is equal to 0. This is what we want. So that means that x minus minus 2, or f plus 2, x plus 2 even, is a factor. So now we're exactly up to where the last one started. We have a factor and we can use that with the exact same method from last time, using algebraic division, to then split it into a linear and a quadratic factor, factorize the quadratic, and you get to your answer. That's why I've not finished that. Sketching cubics. This is quite an important skill. It's very useful. Sometimes it's useful to be able to see a graph when you're trying to answer a question. It can make it make more sense. Some rules to start with. If the cubic has a positive x cubed coefficient, the curve goes bottom left to top right. You'll see some examples of this shortly. It'll make more sense. And if the cubic has a negative x cubed coefficient, the curve goes top left to bottom right. So here's our first example for this. Sketch f of x equals x lots of x minus 1 lots of 2x plus 1. Well, first you solve equal to 0 to get the roots, and the roots here are our x equals 0, x equals 1, and x equals minus a half. And there is also a y-intercept at y equals 0. Positive x cubed coefficient, so it goes bottom left to top right, as we said at the top. Might also be useful to find maximum and minimum points. Can use your calculator like I mentioned before, or there'll be a method to do differentiation to help you find this, but not gone over differentiation yet at all, so later video. So this is the graph you end up with. You can see the roots, minus a half, 0, 1. You can see the y-intercept at 0, and you can see bottom left to top right, and it just curves in between the roots. Oh, I've not done the animations on this one, but that's okay. So another example, sketch g of x equals 1 minus x lots of x squared minus 2x plus 2. So I've just realised this makes no sense as a sentence at the top, but you can use quadratic formula or the discriminant on the quadratic factor, and that shows you that there are no real roots. So the only root to this equation, or only real root to this equation, is that x equals 1. You can also use your calculator to find out that there's no real roots, or check it at least, and it'll come up in terms of I when it comes up with the answers for x. And obviously, if you only do normal A-Level Maths, you don't use I. Doesn't make any sense. If you do further maths, you will come across the imaginary numbers. I did fairly early on in further maths, but people do it at different points. But in normal maths, when you're doing your basic A-Level Maths, you do not use that. So the only root for this is x equals 1. The y-intercept is at x equals 2, and there is a negative x cubed coefficient if you times it all out, so the curve goes top left to bottom right. So that's the graph. I'm going to end this here now, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this video useful. Like, share, subscribe, do whatever. Give me any feedback, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye!